Welcome to Into the Mind of a Madman. Today I wanted to start as something I hold very deep to my thought philosophies: death. At the beginning of life, there's death. It's certain. It's pretty much the only thing certain in this world. Far as, no matter how little of time we have on this earth, how long of a time we perceive to be on this earth as humans, we all are gonna die. We don't get to choose the date. Most of us don't get to choose the date. Most of us don't get to choose the time, the place, the when, the how, And when it comes to my thoughts and why I regard it so highly in my decision making on a daily basis, is because I encountered death at an early age. And, for most people throughout life, and though they encounter death of family members, friends, associates, people they look up to, mentors, like movie stars, actors, and whatever the situation may be, it doesn't affect them in a way to make them want to live a certain way. Like, we do have certain people's deaths that affect us to the point we go, you know what, I gotta start living life. I gotta change my life. Or it makes them get depressed, go into a deeper, darker mental state. Well, for me, I don't necessarily say I'm in a deep, dark mental state, but I would say I'm very conscious of how sudden it can be, how it can happen before you got a chance to actually experience certain things in life that you may have wanted to. So my thoughts and decision making are those of one who says, you know what, if I were to die today, would I be happy with the life that I lived? And I wanted to come to you today and give you two references in my life that pretty much shaped the way that I think today. I'm pretty much at 35, I'm pretty sure most of us encountered several death situations where we seen people we loved, seen people we admired, we seen people we said, yo, I just spoke to him yesterday. I just spoke to her yesterday. And it affected us. So, with that being said, the first experience for me was my second grade teacher, Miss Robinson. Second grade, we're about 7 years old. Because you think you entered the first grade at like 6, something like that. About 6, 7. About 7 years old. My teacher, Miss Robinson, died. I don't really know the cause of death, but I know for like the first half of the school year, she was my teacher, and an incident happened in school to where one of the kids, he was had, I guess, like an attitude or anger issues or whatever you want to say. He used to like get mad and like throw things, chairs and books or whatever, like on a temper tantrum, and like that was his outlet of whenever he got mad, that's what he would do. One particular time, he ends up throwing a chair. It hit Miss Robinson in the leg or whatever. She was hurt. She was then out of school for a while. We had a substitute teacher, Mrs. Cologne, like a Hispanic lady. But, you know, she used to pull people's ears, and she was one of those teachers. Pull your ear and all, I remember that. But Miss Robinson was out of school for months. And she finally came back. But, you know, I remember her, like, limping around, whatever. I guess she wasn't 100%. And she went out again. Like I said, I don't know the cause of death, but she ended up dying, right? And for us kids, though the situation may not have been related, right? To us, she went from a healthy person to being injured by a chair being thrown at her. Not at her, but in her direction or whatever it was. Getting hit by the chair, to her being out, to her coming back, to her being out again, and her dying. So for us as kids, it was like, yo, you just killed the teacher, bro. And that was a thing. And we all was like, yo, you killed Miss Robinson, bro. And Miss Robinson was a good black teacher. And she was good people's. And I remember we had a assembly for her. And I'm sitting in the back. And that was the first time I liked music. Like funeral music. I remember, I believe the teacher's name was Mr. Lewis, a big black guy. He sung "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye," and that hurt me, yo. You know, and it was like the class gave her assembly, like the school gave her like a goodbye assembly or whatever, and it was like I was cool until that point. I just remember that vividly, second grade. I mean, so you can figure at a 7, you have a teacher that you like, and now you're going through the process of handling her death. For me, and for, I guess, you know, for many people, we handle these things differently, But for me, at the time, I was cool, but it shaped my mind into like, yo, this is a crazy, like I said, it went from a healthy teacher to her being hurt from a chair to her finally coming back and she limping around to her passing. It went so quick. So that's one incident. Second incident, same type of suddenness. It was my grandmother. My grandmother, my mother's mother. My grandmother Mabel, I remember my mom having a party for her birthday in our house, in our apartment. The party's going on, everything's cool. My grandmother gets sick at the party. My mom shuts down the party, brings her to the hospital. She doesn't make it back from the hospital. I remember she died about 2 days later. And I remember my mom coming home and telling us, like in the middle of the night, crying, coming in the house, like she's gone, she passed. I remember crying heavy for whatever reason. And, that happened about 94, 95. I can't really remember the exact year. But again, I'm about 9, 10. So you figure 2-year span of another, everything good at the party, she gets sick, she don't make it home. And once again, at a young age, it's like, wow, this life it go like that. It go like the way I process it is, like I said, everything's good, everything's not good. And it's just that quick. And those are two major points of reference of why I tend to move listen, I gotta move like this because if I go tomorrow, I just gotta move like this. I gotta go with what's in my heart. I gotta tell you the truth because if I live a lie and then I die with the lie and I haven't lived the life that I wanted, that I was happy with. So then, moving on from my grandmother's death, while in school, I had classmates with different diseases that they died from, that I personally know. That happened in elementary school that I know. There was a girl in middle school that I know. She had like heart problems, had heart surgeries, and she ended up dying in middle school. And I know kids who died, we all lived, like I said, growing up in these neighborhoods where, kids end up dying from gunshots, just growing up in these particular inner cities, drugs, diseases, there's so many ways to die. And I just seen death throughout my life. And like I said, it makes me go, yo, if I die today, just how happy would I be? So when I make these decisions about like who I'm gonna be friends with, how truthful am I gonna be when living the life I want to live? Should I do for others? Should I do for myself? How do I deal with, look, I got my wife here on my side. I got my daughter now. How do I treat them? How do I treat my wife, the one I'm telling I love, right? And I do anything for. But there's certain things about my life that I have to do. You know, when you become married, you're supposed to fuse as one. But it's a certain individuality you have to keep within your marriage to stay sane in your marriage, right? And a lot of my individuality come with other females that I have as friends. It comes with me moving a certain way. And I say that because I want to bring up how society that we live in, that this American society that we were raised in, plays a role in how truthful we are. And we're taught to somewhat lie, to play in the stereotype of this society to keep the family happy. For one of like happy wife, happy life. Like if I want to do something in my heart, but society is bred us a certain way to where my wife may not necessarily believe I should be doing such, based on just how she feels, how she was raised. It may not look right, it may not feel right to her. But I have to feel like, yo, this may be right for me, and I still do it, or I don't do it, or I'm coming to you for your opinion, is basically based on death for me, is what I'm saying. So for me, it's like I said, if I was to die today, would I rather have you mad at me for telling you the truth, or would I lie to you and still do it behind your back? Because I feel like I still have to do it, because if I don't accomplish or do what I want to do before I go, before my time is up, then what is my life worth living? That's just, I don't know, like, it's strong for me. Death is strong for me. Like, that feeling of that. And it's a lot of conflict in it. You know, a lot of people live, they want to live for the moment. They want to live for the moment. But I don't believe a lot of people live in their moment. I believe a lot of people like to live and not think about death. Like, it scares them off. Like, even my wife, when I talk to her, she doesn't really like me speaking about death. Like, a lot of people don't like you speaking it, like, as if like you're speaking it into existence. And I get that point. I truly get that. But it's to me, it's a difference in when you speaking in, yo, I'm ready to go right now, or is hindering you from doing something. Like, yo, I'm not gonna go skydiving because I might die, or I'm not gonna do this because that's gonna get me closer to death. I'm doing all of that. I've done skydiving before. I'm going again. I've done bungee jumping. I've done zip lining. I done been on, like, whatever, It's not the adventures is what I'm saying, but I've lived a life. I lived the truth of how what my heart feels, and it's solely based on death. Like, if I were to die, am I cool with the life I live? And it comes out to me just from the experiences that I've seen of so many people dying so early on in life. And it's like I've known personally. I have, we all had these real experiences. Like I said, from family members, from friends, from car crashes to knife stabbings to gunshots, heart problems and diseases and cancer, and this old age. I'm fortunate enough to know family members that actually die of old age. Like, and that's something that's something to me that in this death thing, I've stated to several people that I believe, when barring that everything out in the world goes correctly, of natural causes, if I die of natural causes, I believe I will be old, because my grandmother's still living. She's 81 now. That's my father's mother. My father's father, I'm pretty sure, is still living. I mean, that's, don't really know him like that. So, but as far as I know, he's still living. He's got to be 70s, 80 something. My mother's father's still living. He's 80 something. My mother's father's sister, my mother's aunt, my great aunt, whatever you want to say, she just died last year. She was about 104. So, I got good chances. I got good chances to live. My father's mother's mother, my great grandmother, she died in her 90s. So I got a good chance out here, of living a long life. I have that in my thoughts, That's something that's in my thoughts. So it's not like I think I'm gonna live this short life. I don't necessarily do drugs. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do pills and whatever. I'm not necessarily hooked on anything. I go to the doctors and get checkups and all of that. That's something I do. So I'm not necessarily worried in that aspect. It's just knowing how this could be, though. Knowing how easily this life is taken. And just all cancer awareness and just how society is. I drive a truck. I've seen crashes. I've been in crashes. I know it could come. I know it could come easy, man. And I'm doing this because I just think about death every day. And it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me on my P's and Q's of, hey, what are we doing this for? Is there a purpose? Will you be satisfied with this going out? And part of these videos is for that. Is for if I go before my daughter grows. Part of this is for my daughter because I want her to know me through my words, through the sound of my voice. Now, I do plan on being here when she grows up. Like I said, I don't think, barring something tragic happening, but I do think, I have my own video for her in my camera, but I be thinking about every day. Let me buy some books for her to read and just have them in the stash. So when she grows up, I want her to read these books to know certain things. It's a lot of things I do with the thought of death in mind. So for me, it's the number one. It's the number one of, I got bank account set up. I got a book stash set up. I got these videos when she's 16, 17. She dealing with boys and she could just, let me see what my dad would do about this. And like she'll have it. You know what I'm saying? I think about, man, like what happened? I'm not here to guide her through that. With a daughter now, that's big. That's big on me. That's big on me right now. But I'm definitely right now in the process of setting stuff up for my daughter. So when she do grow up and I'm unfortunately not able to be here, if that happens, that she will have something to reference to go to and go, all right, let me go to tape 5 or video 6, because that's when he's talking about what I should do financially or how he would see it if I'm going through this and that in life. So I want to pretty much document all these thoughts in my head, and it's mainly for her. This is mainly for my daughter, because this death thing is real. Happens very sudden. So that's pretty much all I gotta say about that. I'm not trying to depress nobody and nothing like that. But just live with a purpose, man. It's pretty much live with a purpose. Thank you for entering the mind of a madman. Holla.